Hey Sun Devils and future Sun Devils, I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans joining you from my job here in Central Texas. I am the weekday morning meteorologist at 25 News KXXV. We are nestled right in between Dallas and Austin, so if you're from the Lone Star State or know the area pretty well, we are the station's housed right in Waco, which is pretty much in between both of those cities. So just wanted to hop on and kind of give you guys my take on what the field is like as a broadcast meteorologist, touch on a couple of my responsibilities, pretty similar to what most meteorologists do, whether that is an operational, you're working for a private sector, airlines. There are, of course, differences. Our communications are different, but in terms of interpreting forecast models, creating forecasts, a lot of it's pretty similar and to what you would learn in the program there at Arizona State University. My job as a broadcast meteorologist is, it is our job to basically take a forecast and, for me, especially as a weekday morning meteorologist, it's my responsibility to update people as they wake up each morning and to get them out the door. What do they need to know in terms of how hot, how cold? Is it going to be wet? Is it going to be dry? What's the big story? What can they expect later in the day as well? If we have severe weather coming in later that afternoon or that evening, then we need to get them prepared for the threats that they could be potentially experiencing with the severe weather if it were to come in at that time. So my job, my responsibilities, my shift, it's very different than a lot of people or most jobs, I would say. My day starts at about 3 o'clock in the morning here at the studio. We are on the air starting at 4:30, which most stations do a 4:30 show. Some will only do 5, but we are on the air at 4:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's 2.5 hours where we've got news, of course, all across Central Texas, some national stories in there too. And then between all of that, I'm actually probably doing about 20 minutes of weather coverage. It's obviously split up in between that 2.5 hour show, but there's probably a good 18 to 20 minutes that I have to do a forecast for. Now, a lot of that is going to be repetitive because people will join us at different times of the show. So it's kind of going to be your basic show, at least as of now, especially when weather's really boring. What your temperatures look like, what's radar going to look like the rest of the day. We call it Future Track here at 25 News. And then, of course, that 10-day forecast. The number one reason people still probably watch weather is they're really interested in what that 10-day forecast is going to look like. So when I get here at 3 in the morning, it is making a forecast. I am reading the forecast discussions. I am checking the current satellites, the infrared, of course, everything that Dr. Cervini was teaching me in my synoptic and dynamic meteorology classes there at ASU. So taking all of that stuff, creating a forecast. We forecast 10 days here at KXXV. We do two regions because we have sort of 2 microclimates in our viewing area. We have Central Texas, which is that I-35 corridor, and then we have the Brazos Valley, which is Bryan College Station, home to Texas A&M. They're a little bit closer to the Houston metro, which means they're a little bit closer to the Gulf. So they get more of that tropical air mass and kind of a tropical environment down in the Brazos Valley. So I'm creating 10-day forecasts for both spots, hourly throughout the day. All of that is done when I get here in the morning, and then I am getting graphics ready at about 3:30, and then I start doing tapings for the website, our weather channel that we have on 25.3, which streams over the air. And then I'm also doing stuff for the website too. So there's a lot of things that go on between when I get here and for when the morning show starts. And even when the morning show is happening, I'm still constantly updating the graphics, trying to change things up. That way it's not the same exact thing every single time, but at least it's somewhat different content during that 2.5 hours. Then a break kind of happens at 7 o'clock. I'm doing updates on Good Morning America cut-ins about every 30 minutes. And then at 9 o'clock, things kind of quiet down for a little bit. Usually I go home, have some breakfast or something, but then I come back at 10:30 and we do our midday show at 11. That is 30 minutes. And then at 11:30, we are done for the day. At least I am. So that's about 8 to 8.5 hours of what my day looks like. what I really find rewarding about my work is that at least I am providing a product to our viewers that I hope that they find useful to at least get them informed of what they need to know in terms of the forecast. You know, we have the smartphones, everyone can look at their smartphones and check temperatures, can check rain chances, but the importance of TV meteorologists still is the fact that when you have severe weather breaking out or big weather events, your phone's not going to tell you where a tornado warning is going. Your phone's not going to tell you where a severe thunderstorm producing golf ball sized hail is going. That is where our job comes in, where we can come in and communicate that to our audience. Now, the National Weather Service is obviously putting out those products, the tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, whatever it is. But it is our job to communicate those products to the viewer and help them understand it a little bit better. Government and National Weather Service forecasters, you know, their communication skills, you know, it's not their job to communicate to the general public as a whole. It's more of the media that falls on that. And of course, we have all the graphic machines that allow it to make the products a little bit easier to look at as well. So that's what I find really rewarding about my work, is that I'm providing a product for people to get going out the door and get their day started. And of course, what they need to know in terms of the weather forecast. In terms of key advice that I would give to a student who aspires to be a broadcast meteorologist in the future, what I would say is I don't want you to be scared of the industry. It is changing a lot, journalism as a whole, TV, you know, I really doubt we're going to be doing 5, 6, 10 o'clock shows, you know, 5 to 10 years from now. Everything is really veering, I should say, toward the OTT, which is over the top stuff that you can stream on like your Roku or your Apple TV streaming devices. They're doing a lot of newscasts for that, where things are taped. A lot of things obviously are done on station mobile apps, their Facebook accounts, their Twitter accounts. You know, our generation, I am a Gen Zer technically, I was born in 1997. So we are really getting our news from a different way than our parents got news, our grandparents got news. It was always tune in at 5 or 6 for your news, but now things are changing. So basically my advice is to not be scared of the industry. Don't feel like you're not going to have a job if you get into this industry and 10 years from now you're out of a job. There's always going to be a need for broadcast meteorologists because, as I just said, tornado warnings, your phone's not going to be able to tell you where that is, at least on the mobile app. Now, people might be watching you or me on their phone during a tornado warning. They might not be turning on the TV physically, but in terms of delivering that key information when severe weather is hitting, that is going to be crucial that is what's crucial basically about our field, and will continue to be probably forever, I would say, because technology, you know, robots can't tell you what the weather is going to do. Forecast models, they're not perfect. You will learn in your synoptic meteorology, dynamic meteorology classes, even all the equations that go into those models, they're still not perfect. That's just because the atmosphere, it's a giant fluid, and it just kind of has a mind of its own in terms of what it wants to do. So that would be my key advice, is just to not be scared of the industry. Also, it's very fun. You know, it's a good way to get yourself out and recognized by public. I have been recognized lots already by the grocery store, the gym. Haven't had too many outings yet, obviously, because things are still kind of shut down from coronavirus, but it's really nice to get yourself out in the community, and people can kind of know you as someone, as a go-to person for, you know, when severe weather happens. They can always ask you when things might be turning dangerous for them. So anyway, that's kind of what my field is right now. I'm 3 months into my career here at KXXV, so feel free to shoot me an email. My social media accounts, it's at Jordan Evans WX, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on all of those, so you can simply probably just send me a direct message on one of those accounts. I can also get a hold of you if you have questions about the field. Be happy to answer them for you. Again, I was a graduate from the Bachelor's of Science in Geography, where it's meteorology/climatology. It's simply a Bachelor's of Science meteorology degree. And I was also received the Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism from the Cronkite School, so that gave me the reporting experience, the green screen time to practice and get really good, to end up getting a really good job here that I'm very happy with right now here in Central Texas. So hopefully this answers some of your questions, and just feel free to reach out if you need or if you want me to answer any questions.